no secret that there's been a fair amount of foreign donations going into the Liberal Party. All parties, but the Liberal Party in more recent times. Are you in favour of banning foreign donations?
So I got to say, I think the biggest thing that this parliament could do for our kids and, you know, the future is actually reform donations and get money out of politics in Australia at all levels.
So how would you do it? I mean, not piecemeal, so this is one part of it, maybe.
Well, so because New South Wales did it, but then you've got different So, you know, if you're raising money for the federal member versus the state member, you get different rules. Doesn't make sense.
So you'd like to see a national uniform system between tiers of government?
Has to be national. And look, there are some countries...
money goes between state and federal.
Because money goes between state and federal. But the really big... No one disagrees with banning international or foreign donations. The big issue is where it stops or where it starts. Because it's easy to say, not to the Labor Party and the Liberal Party, but what about GetUp? What about Associated? What about unions? What about... And on that front, Bill is very, very quiet.
OK, so your point is, this is an interesting point, your point is that, even putting aside the get-ups, your point is that Labor won't take federal donations under what Bill Shorten's talking about, but that doesn't mean the unions don't take them and then the unions donate to the Labor Party. That's right, absolutely. And, you know, GetUp can't be ignored. I mean, it had $10.26 million in the bank the other day. As you know, that's more than a lot of state divisions of the Liberal Party and the Labor Party raised in 1 year. That's a significant amount of money, and they don't have to declare where any of that money comes from. OK, well, so a full and frank banning of foreign donations, by the sounds of it, you're open to, but it would need to include those sort of second-tier, third-tier passing on of donations. What else, though? I mean, would you, for example, be interested in an entirely publicly funded scheme, or does that offend you as a Liberal? That offends me as a Liberal. Okay. I think probably a better way to go is to do stuff around where you're banning, you know, what sort of advertising the political parties can do. Okay. So it doesn't stop media organisations from covering stuff, but it ends that demand for money because you can't do a lot of stuff that you would otherwise want to. I'll tell you what, it's hard enough to make a buck in the media these days with advertising without all that government advertising and political advertising also dwindling. Well, that's not a bad point, but in the UK they've banned it and, you know, it's worked quite well. So they have very limited options for what political advertising you can do. There's constitutional barriers. We saw Barry O'Farrell and Nathan Rees, in a sense, you know, in unison, there was like a banning of the ability of business. No. But see, that's an important point. Nathan Rees banned business, but didn't ban the unions. Yeah, so Barry O'Farrell added the unions, but then the unions won in the High Court. They did, but the High Court made it quite clear that if the New South Wales government went back and said, if you cap union donations at $5,000, not at zero, that'd be OK. It was capping it at zero that the High Court said was a breach of the implied right to free political expression in the Constitution. We will come back to this when we talk to